Fly, Eagles, fly, family. Our locker room just got a whole lot quieter, and the news hitting the Philly faithful today is absolutely shocking. We are talking about the departure of a true powerhouse, a wide receiver who redefined greatness in our colors and left behind a legacy that sparked a major conversation inside our building. Before he officially walked out the door, he left a mysterious final message that has everyone talking. What exactly did he write? You need to see this to believe it. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Were you ready to see him go? The departure of wide receiver A.J. Brown from the Philadelphia Eagles has officially concluded following the team's decision to trade the star player to the New England Patriots on June 1st. This transaction had been the anticipated outcome leading up to the mandatory minicamp, and as the dust settles, the details of his final moments at the facility have emerged. During a recent visit to the team headquarters to clear out his locker and handle logistical matters, Brown left a lasting mark on the organization. He made his presence felt one last time by approaching the wall dedicated to showcasing the Philadelphia Eagles Pro Bowlers throughout the years. Finding his own picture displayed among the franchise greats, the veteran wide receiver left a handwritten message that has since captured significant attention. According to a report from NFL Network's Mike Garafolo on Tuesday, June 9th, Brown signed the space next to his photo with a bold statement. He wrote, "Best to ever play here, always open." The organization has confirmed that this signature is set to remain on the wall, serving as a permanent record of his confidence and his tenure in Philadelphia. Brown, who is 28 years old, arrived in Philadelphia following his initial 3-year stint with the Tennessee Titans. His transition out of the building marks a major shift for the roster as the Eagles pivot toward new offensive configurations. For the fans who have cheered "Fly, Eagles, fly" over the years, this moment serves as a tangible conclusion to his time with the squad. As the team navigates the post-trade reality, Brown's final parting message highlights his self-assessment of his accomplishments during his time as a key offensive weapon for the organization. When analyzing why this matter is significant for the team right now, the primary focus falls on the production void left by A.J. Brown. Throughout his 4-year tenure in Philadelphia, the star wide receiver became an integral part of the offensive scheme. During his time with the organization, Brown earned 3 All-Pro selections and 2 Pro Bowl honors. His statistical contributions were substantial, as he accumulated 339 receptions for a total of 5,034 yards and 32 touchdowns. These numbers firmly cement his status in the history of the franchise, as he currently sits in the top 10 for all-time receiving yards for the Eagles. Positioned at number 9 on that prestigious list, he ranks just behind Bobby Walston, who holds the 8th spot with 5,363 yards. This ranking underscores the level of impact he had on the field since his arrival. The team now faces the task of adjusting its passing attack without a player who consistently served as a primary target in high-leverage situations. The departure of a player with 3 All-Pro nods naturally forces a re-evaluation of the depth chart and the target distribution for the upcoming season. As the team moves forward, the immediate concern involves how the offensive unit will compensate for the loss of his specific production profile. With the trade finalized, the organization must integrate new roles for the receiving corps to maintain efficiency. The situation highlights the challenges of roster management when parting ways with an elite-level contributor who served as a foundational piece of the passing game for several seasons. The absence of his presence on the field creates a transition period that the coaching staff and front office must address as they shift their focus toward future personnel alignments and game plans for the 2026 season. With A.J. Brown moving on to the New England Patriots, the spotlight shifts toward the internal changes within the wide receiver room. The organization is now looking toward Devonta Smith to assume a larger role in the passing game. Interestingly, the statistical history between these two players is closely linked, as Smith is currently ranked 10th in the organization's all-time receiving yards list with 5,019 yards. This places him directly behind Brown, who sits at number 9 with 5,034 yards. Given the trajectory of their respective careers, it is mathematically probable that Smith will surpass Brown's total receiving yards in the near future. Once Smith records the necessary yardage to climb the rankings, Brown will inevitably shift down to the 10th spot on the franchise's all-time list. This transition illustrates the fluidity of the roster and the ongoing evolution of the team's depth. Smith has been identified as the primary individual tasked with serving as Brown's replacement, a shift that is expected to define the offensive identity for the immediate future. The management of this transition is critical, as it involves moving from a tandem approach to a structure that centers on Smith's development and capacity to command targets. While Brown leaves behind a legacy of high-volume production and All-Pro accolades, the focus for the Eagles now rests entirely on how efficiently Smith can bridge the gap in production. This shift is not merely about individual rankings, but about the structural integrity of the offensive unit. As Smith prepares to step into this heightened role, the organization monitors his ability to perform as the go-to receiver, essentially taking over the responsibilities that Brown occupied during his 4 years in Philadelphia. The departure of A.J. Brown provides a clear look at how quickly a roster can evolve within a single offseason. His trade to the New England Patriots is the definitive move of the summer, creating a ripple effect across the depth chart. The fact that the trade was the expected outcome before minicamp suggests that the organization had time to prepare for this personnel change. By clearing out his locker and leaving his parting message on the wall of Pro Bowlers, Brown signaled a formal end to his tenure. The message, "Best to ever play here, always open," reflects his personal view on his performance and his role as a deep threat and reliable option for his quarterbacks. Throughout his career in Philadelphia, he provided a consistent safety valve and a high-ceiling playmaker who could change the complexion of a game with a single reception. Now, with him gone, the team must address how they will replace that specific type of playmaking ability. This requires the coaching staff to look at the remainder of the roster to see who can replicate the vertical threat and the physical play style that Brown brought to the field. The loss of a two-time Pro Bowler is always a complex situation, particularly when that player has been central to the offensive output for 4 seasons. As the team continues its preparations, the memory of Brown's contributions remains visible on the facility wall, but the focus is strictly on the players who remain. The organization's ability to navigate this transition will be a defining factor in how they measure their progress in the upcoming months. Every rep during practices will now be evaluated to determine which receivers are capable of stepping up into the void. Concluding his run with the Eagles, A.J. Brown's legacy is defined by his ability to maintain high levels of production over a sustained 4-year period. By joining the organization from the Tennessee Titans, he brought a specific intensity that resulted in consistent statistical success. His climb into the top 10 of the franchise's all-time receiving yards list is an objective measure of his productivity. As the team pivots to a new phase, they do so knowing that they are parting ways with one of their most effective offensive weapons of the modern era. The trade to the New England Patriots officially marks the end of an era for Brown in Philadelphia, though his signature on the wall ensures that his self-proclaimed title of being the best to ever play there remains in the building for the time being. The organization will move forward with Devonta Smith as the primary receiver, who is well-positioned to continue his ascent on the all-time list and potentially surpass Brown's yardage totals sooner rather than later. This natural shift in the rankings serves as a reminder of the constant turnover in professional sports. While the fans who chant "Fly Eagles Fly" might look back on the highlights of his time in Philadelphia, the current reality for the franchise is purely about personnel adaptation. The administrative side of the trade is complete, and the focus is now squarely on how the 2026 Eagles will look without their star wideout. The team's commitment to keeping his signature on the wall acts as a symbolic nod to his time spent with the club. As the calendar pushes deeper into the summer, the focus remains entirely on the upcoming challenges of the regular season and the new offensive dynamics now taking shape.